feeling it. They're not enjoying life. They're feeling under pressure. They live by to-do lists. And I help these ladies, these incredible ladies. I see magic in them the moment that I speak to them. And I have the very big privilege of being able to be the coach that helps them to slow down, to really go on that journey of creating this really strong self-identity, to know themselves, and then start to like and love who they are, and then create a life to be that person. And that's all about living more. So living a bigger life, having more impact, creating a legacy, but just the small things as well, like proper time with their family where they honour that time and they switch off from everything else, and proper time at work when they're committed and they're very clear on what they're doing. So kind of make a lot of distinctions for them and set boundaries. So yeah, which is pretty amazing. I love it. I truly love it.
Yes,
it's my purpose and my passion. Absolutely. I feel like I've come home to what I was put on this planet to do. So yeah.
Fantastic. Can't wait to hear more. We are live and streaming into the group. So like I say, any questions, any extra questions, just pop them underneath and we will get to them definitely. So I'm Jane Scanlan. I'll just introduce myself quickly. You are in my group, and I help men and women to feel better about themselves and to again break out of that negative chitter chatter and like you, Nicola, just get people to enjoy each section, not be with your children and stuck on your phone, not be at work and thinking about something else, just to really be in the here and now and enjoy the life we've got, because God, it goes quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, let's enjoy it and have the best life we can possibly have on this beautiful planet.
Exactly, and we all deserve that and more. So
yeah, 100%. Okay, first question. How did you start on this path?
Good question. From my own, I think like many people who end up in a business that serves other people and helps them to change their life, I changed my own life first. So everything I do, my clients, I've learned from my own journey, my own experience. But where it really started was my own epic saga of my life hugely changing. I got married at 24. I had a very successful corporate career, 6-figure career. And both of those came to an end within about 6 months of each other. And that huge journey, I kind of got through it. And I don't really know sometimes looking back how I did get through it. But I got through those huge changes, and then coming out the other side is when I actually started to suffer hugely with anxiety and depression. And the depression took a really strong grip on me, to the extent that it was a victory to get out of bed in the morning, to such an extent that some mornings I would just hold my breath as long as possible to see if it would stop the pain and the hurt and the darkness. And I became the most amazing person at being depressed. Like I'm an overachiever.
You were like,
I went to the doctors. Yeah, he said, wow, you've got depression, anxiety. I'm going to give you some antidepressants. And then I absorbed that role of being depressed. So I spoke like a depressed person. I acted like one.
Yes.
I felt like one.
Through, doesn't it?
I wore the label.
Area. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So coming out of that, and I do say to anyone that's any women or any people that I speak to, just when they have labels that related to behavior or like depression or anxiety, and they that's one of the first things they say to me. I actually talk to them about this idea that actually it's a label, and then your brain will look for evidence that that's who you are, and then you'll kind of that's taking it deeper and deeper. But my journey then started with the journey out of it. But I just wanted to explain, I had a huge, I call them fuck it moments. And the fuck it moment was basically, a fuck it moment is what Tim Ferriss calls a Harajuku moment, where you have this moment of absolute clarity where the pain of continuing is more than the pain of change. So my moment was my mum ringing, and my dad had had some huge stress at work, and that resulted in my dad suffering from depression. And that's not like my dad at all. So he ended up at this very grey little quiet version of himself, and it was just horrible to see. My mum was kind of looking after him, is when I lived up in Reading, and she just rang me one day and she said, guess how many words. They've been married for, I think it's 50 years in 2 years, so 48 years. Guess how many words your dad said to me today? I said, I don't know. And he said 5 words to me. He said yes, and he said no, and that's all I've got today. And she said, I can't do this anymore. This is too hard. I can't watch this person that I love go through this. It's just too difficult. And then she said, can I come and stay with you? And I said no, because I was struggling so much, and so much of what my dad was going through I could relate to, because I was stuck there. So that was my big fuck it moment, because there was no way on earth I was ever going to let my parents not get the help they needed from me when they needed it ever again. I made that promise to myself. And really from there, it actually started with nutrition. It started with learning about nutrition, and I did a cleanse. I did like a 10-day cleanse with a Fit Pro friend of mine that basically taught me that everything I knew about nutrition was basically pretty much wrong. I used to eat by the food pyramid and the eat well plate, and think, why can I not lose that last half stone? Why is it always there? And so that really opened my eyes to nutrition. I then went on to become qualified nutritional consultant with Body Type Nutrition, and absolutely love that. So I did that for a year. And then I was looking to train somewhere and train my clients. I was training to become a personal trainer. And then I walked into CrossFit Reading, probably 6 years ago. And I saw a lot of, it was summertime and it was really warm, and I saw a lot of men that were really hot with their tops on.
Yeah, they're
and I fell in love, and I was like, who is this? Who are these people? And I want to do this a lot with all of them. Often. And then I fell in love with strength training. But again, being the overachiever, it was training twice a day, and then it was commuting into London for the last corporate role that I had. And I just completely overdid it, and I just burnt out. But I kept the love of weightlifting. So weightlifting's been a passion of mine for like years and years. I've just started again with 6 months ago. So that kind of showed me about strength training, and what it did for my confidence, and how I fell back in love with my body was a lot due to that. And then final
I don't know
part
about you with the strength training and with the fitness and nutrition, it totally changes the way you think about yourself and your self-talk at the same time. It's not just an external thing, which a lot of people think it is. It's 75% internal, it changes everything.
The strength training showed me how strong I was, not physically, yes, but mentally more than that. More than anything. And the nutrition was just this huge new level of self-awareness and intuitively starting to learn what my body needed, which was just mind-blowing, because I'd had kind of some IBS symptoms. I'd had some bloating and headaches, and I just I just thought it was normal. And then all those symptoms, as I worked through this cleanse and then onto my year training with Body Type, I just realized that how I feeling wasn't how you were meant to feel. And that was a huge light bulb of, why have I put up with this for so long? Because I didn't know any different. Because like a child learning to walk, it's no different. And then the final part of my puzzle, which is my huge passion now, I love all those things still, but my business now very much focuses on what we probably call mindset. But the way that I teach it and coach it is head and heart work. So the head work is very much about understanding what I call noggin knowledge, so the neuroscience of change. And that came from, I went on a weekend course with Dax Moy called Mind Map, and I spent the whole weekend crying, because I finally understood that my marriage breakdown, my relationship breakdown, and also leaving my corporate career, like the reason that I'd done those things, it wasn't actually my fault. They were all my responsibility, but the way I'd behaved through them and what I was saying, thinking, feeling and doing was purely some brain processes that at the time I had no idea. So I took it very personally, and it was all my fault, because I was the one that finished the marriage. And then out of that came, this isn't what my clients need. This is what I need to do a lot of and go some deep depth into. So I started studying it for me. I then started sharing it with my clients. And then I went to Thailand 18 months ago. And that's when I realized I didn't want the gym that I had, a very successful gym. And then it was like, I just want to do this stuff all the time. And so that's all the head work. And then the heart part is truly, truly deeply connecting with yourself, getting to know first of all, who you are, who you truly are, and becoming like the world leading authority in you. And then that leads on to, okay, so now we know who you are. What do you actually want from your life? Because many high achieving women or men, they get to a certain point and then they kind of stop around my age, around 40, and they go, I don't even want all of this. I don't need all this. Don't need all this money and cars and, all of this. Because actually, if I just connect more in the day to day, that's where the magic lies.
Yeah.
And that's what I do now. So yeah.
That's lovely. Oh, I can't wait to hear some of the success stories as well. What is one of the questions that people always tend to ask you?
That's a good question. Do you mean like related to my business or me in general?
Yeah, I mean, if there's one that pops up to your head, which is you in general, but related to your business first.
Related to my business is around just very common problems that high achieving women have, which are things like self-sabotage comes up a lot. That comes up hugely often. Why do I still not feel enough? If I look at all the different reasons and all the different symptoms why women come to me and work with me, it doesn't really matter. It does matter because I care about them and I like to understand, and I kind of plot in my head for each one of them what we're going to do and where we're going to focus. But the bit that it doesn't matter because the root cause is always the same thing underneath. So the question I get asked most, probably inadvertently, is why do I not still feel worthy? Why do I not still feel valued? Why do I not think that I'm still not enough, despite hitting my diet plan, despite I've got this high-flying career, I'm now the MD, there's nowhere else for me to go, despite my business being this size, despite having the relationship, having the children, the family, despite that, I still don't feel enough. So the symptoms can be so many different things, but it all comes back to the two greatest fears that we have that Tony Robbins talks about is, will we be enough and will we be loved? And those two are hugely interlinked. And that's kind of inadvertently, that's the biggest question that I get asked most often.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Really, really well answered.
Thanks.
I love the way you're bringing in all the different people that all of your mentors as well.
Yeah. Well, it's how you learn, right? So
yes. Yeah. 100% how you learn. What is your mission in life?
Just to help high achieving women to slow down, know, love and be themselves and live more. It's really simple. But I don't think there isn't any woman in the world, or even man, to be honest. I choose to work with women because I understand, because I am a woman, and because I get it. But I've also done some work with men, and it doesn't really matter. But I don't think there's any person in the world that couldn't learn, and not in an arrogant way, just because no one teaches and coaches in this unique way. Not that I've seen. I don't think there's anyone that can't learn something from what I teach and coach, because it's truly understanding your brain is just not taught in like enough and in a powerful way enough, I don't think.
Yeah,
So
I'd agree with
huge
you.
gap in understanding, because so much behavior, so many arguments, so many relationships ending, so many wrong career choices, and essentially, like, again, high achievers work really hard to climb the ladder, but it's fucking pointless if your ladder is against the wrong wall and you're doing it out of a brain mechanism that's running the show. So if I can teach and coach that in some way, like I don't want the world's biggest business, because for me personally, that's not what I want, but I do want it in terms of like knowing that the reach is there, knowing that I'm helping more and more people to go, oh shit. Like, so when I went before bed last night, and there was that bit of a pudding left, and I went and troughed it before I went to bed. That wasn't actually
used
me.
to do that.
That wasn't actually me.
I used to have it for breakfast as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We've all done it, right? I'd be like, that's my breakfast.
Waving at me. Yeah. Just to help women understand, stop judging yourself. You're not weak. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You're none of those things. You just don't know how your brain works right now. And that is my mission, because people should know that. Everyone should know how the world's biggest fucking supercomputer that we were all gifted at birth works. Yeah, there's no Apple Genius bar, there's no instruction manual, and we're just expected to get on with it. Yeah, so much of our behavior is from what's inherited, from what we've seen in our families, from what we've been influenced by other people and in relationships, and by strong characters in our life. Just means that we're not living as our true selves. And that's what I love more than anything. And like I said, when you strip it back, it's not the big, huge things that make the difference. For my clients, it's things like proper off time at weekends, so no work at all, or 15 minutes for a fucking cup of tea with their nice new teapot in a day.
Yeah.
That's, an MD of a company. She's like, that is her sacred time now.
Yeah.
And she would never have thought of that before. And it's like, that changes her whole day. 15 minutes to change her whole day is incredible. So yeah, I get a bit ranty.
It is that just self-love, and it doesn't have to look a certain way. And that's the thing. We're given all of these. I did a live before this about the definitions that we put on our lives and everything around us, and we live by these definitions and we never question these definitions, and we let's just destroy the fucking definitions and just make up however you want to live.
Exactly.
Like, and what's going to make you the happiest?
Exactly. But my only caveat with that is that when you don't know yourself, there's a gap in understanding. I've talked about this with my clients quite a lot lately. And that gap will get filled by something because of it can't just be there as a void. It will be filled by something. So if you have that gap in understanding yourself, it would be filled by the opinions of others. It would be filled by what people say about you. It would be filled by the people that shout loudest in your life. It will be filled by your own self-doubt and your own criticisms. It will be filled by all of those things that aren't truly you, unless you go through this journey to peel away the layers of that and actually get back to who the fuck you are. And that's why I'm so passionate about women, just to stop always looking externally or anyone and actually come internally and just listen to your fucking self. Like your own voice should be the loudest, and then you can choose to listen to others, but from the perspective of you're standing firm behind who you are and what you want. Yeah, I get a bit ranty about this stuff. I love it. Excuse me.
No, it's good. And to have your voice being the loudest is a must. And it's probably 99% not done for, the people on this planet. So the more people that we coach and get through this, that they are the number one, the center of their lives, then the better we can up that ratio.
Absolutely.
This is a goodie. So what have you learnt that you want everybody else to learn? What's the one thing, like the top thing that you've learned that you want everybody else to learn?
If you'd asked me 2 years ago, it would have been you are enough. And ask me now, it would be you have all the answers. So I should probably explain a bit more than that. Like I said, we look externally to others for their opinion. We look for permission. We look for approval because of this voiding understanding of ourselves. Therefore, we're always looking externally, which tends to confuse us more. We lack clarity, we lack understanding, and we overwhelm ourselves. And that constant shiny object syndrome, it's like the next thing. It's like, actually, the biggest thing I get my clients to do is honor listening to themselves. They invest in me and working with me, which I'm always very humbled by. But what I'm essentially giving them is a pathway back home to themselves. And they do have all the answers. So imagine that you were here with me now and I said to you, what do you want to drink? You would know what you wanted to drink in an instant. Whether I'd have it is another thing, because I don't drink certain things. But we don't follow that in everyday life. We don't follow the excitement. We don't follow the passion. We don't follow the feel good. I teach my clients, like, follow the feel good. And just over time start to build that little bit by little bit. You don't have to go straight into quitting your job, ending relationship, all that sort of stuff. Very few of my clients do that immediately. If that's something that they feels right for them. But it would be more about the little stuff, like, what do you want to drink? What do you want to eat? When do you want to go to bed? When do you work best? If it's your business, how do you set up your diary? All those sort of things. And you always have the answers, always. And all a coach like me does, all I do, but one of the many things that I do is that I just help my clients to slow down, check in with themselves, learn to listen to that voice, and it's listening to their heart, and then start to act on it more and more, little bit by little bit, as they get more confident with it.
Yeah, definitely. With listening to the soul, the old brain and inner critic can shout very, very loudly. But when you work with someone like yourself, you get to quieten that, and you get to hear your soul call. And when you have those questions, I do it often, with myself and with my clients as well, and I'm like, right, oh God, I'm getting all confused. Okay, stop, Jane, right, sit down, and I'll do some breathing or some meditation, or I will need to do something physical, and I'll go running or something like that, and then right, I've got all that shitty energy out. Then I'll ask the question, and I can hear my soul again.
Yeah, I call it head and heart. So it's just different terminology. Heart is your truth. Heart are your feelings. Heart is where it's truly yourself. And the amazing bit I could get my clients to is actually, like, the head part is still really important. But if you lead with the heart and then the head follows, those two together, like, that's in my mind when you're fucking unstoppable and you can do anything. But so many women are getting the high achieving, so it means they've done well working from leading with the head, yet the heart's kind of going,
what about me?
Yeah, I just want to slow down a bit. Can we just have family time? And or even for example, one particular client, she was an CEO of a new business, and she had 2 boys, and she felt like, to demonstrate how good she was as a mum. She was a great, lovely mum, very kind, very caring. They came first. She would fill their weekends with stuff and doing things, and
I know a lot of parents that do this.
And you know what? She started asking them what they wanted to do the more she worked with me, because she knew she needed to slow down, yet she was exhausting herself at weekends, which were kind of like, recharge time. And they ended up quite often a Sunday, after they'd been and played the hockey game or whatever they were doing, it would then be family time and downtime, watch a few films, cook some food, prep a bit for the week,
snuggle up.
And that's what they wanted, and their connection has just grown and grown, which is just lovely to see.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love hearing stories like that, because
I know, but it's just always an honor, isn't it? My clients are quite naughty though, because we'll have like a call, like a breakthrough call, and then at the end they'll just drop in something that's happened. I'm like, that's huge, like, that wasn't on your reflection sheet, and we're an hour into your call and you've only just mentioned it. I'm like, oh yeah, didn't think about that.
Brilliant. Have you got any more? We've got enough time. Have you got any more, like, success stories and stories about how you've helped your clients, or even stories from your own life on how what you do now has helped you evolve and grow?
You can have a right now story if you want to.
Oh, go on then. Give us a right now story.
So I always like to lead the way with my clients. So when I talk about my best ever client, and my best ever client was 6-figure earner in corporate world, convertible parked on the driveway, a wardrobe full of beautiful clothes, would be a lady that lunched at the weekend. Bank balance was very healthy, so it meant that she could go off and have like big holidays 2 to 3 times a year. And everyone looked at her life from a distance and thought, wow, she's got it made. She's got everything. Whereas in reality, she was broken. In reality, she had no connection with herself. In reality, she was desperately lonely. In reality, she would meet a guy and she would put all the pressure in the world onto him to make it be the one that made her happy. In reality, she was stressed out of her mind at work. She did big launches, so launch time was horrific. And she felt really uncomfortable in her own skin. And that woman is me. I'm my own biggest client. But the story at the moment, I'll be really, really honest. My partner left me 4 weeks ago, and we haven't spoken since, or he hasn't spoken to me. He won't return messages, and I've just stopped now. And why is that relevant? It's relevant because life is always happening. Life will always throw us a curveball. And I believe life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. And actually, for the last 4 weeks, to be really proud of myself, and to know that I'm still serving my clients, I'm still out showing up every day, and I still have my own dreams. I've booked a holiday, for example, and I'm starting to come back home to myself, if that makes sense, and kind of grieve and appreciate what I have, but also come back to me and think, what do I want to do? What do I want my life to be like? I live in this beautiful place. I live in a beach house in Cornwall. How do I make the most of living in this incredible place? And even down to the biggest thing that I've always wanted is to be a mum. And I've looked at fostering and I've looked at adopting, and I know I'm not there at the moment. I've got a lot of healing to do, but I don't need to stop having that dream, because it's not reliant on anyone else, it's reliant on me. And if I really want that, like I've done everything else in my life, I will make that happen in some shape or form. So the biggest thing I would just invite anyone listening to is just to start to become the leading expert in themselves, start to listen to how they feel, start to look back at their history and take the lessons from it, and just start to look at their values, start to look at their beliefs, their story, their language, and that's all the elements of self-identity that I work on with my clients. And just start to really focus in on you, and just change that focus from being external and everyone else first, giving so much to everyone all the time, always needing to be somewhere for someone, and start to come back to you. And it's not like we're all going to just forget everyone and, you know, not worry about our children or our parents or people that need us. That's not who we are. But it does need to be an element of you in there, and you have all the answers. You have everything you've ever needed. And I think this last month has just shown me that kind of new level, new devil has brought up some really huge things for me that I thought I'd kind of put to bed. But I'm also incredibly proud of myself for showing up in the world still, creating more of my business, starting to create a path for myself on my own. And so hopefully I don't want anyone to feel sad, because it is sad, but it's also a new beginning. I'm starting to see that now.
Yeah. And I find my last 4 weeks, as we discussed briefly on Messenger, has I still don't know if I've got a boyfriend or not, to be honest, but it makes me laugh now, whereas last week it made me bawl. I was crying. But what I find with these situations is the amount of growth and the amount of support that I get from, oh God, just people I never even thought that I would get the kind of support and growth from come through. One of my over the past year, I met a new friend on an Access to Consciousness course. And he's a 70-year-old male from India, and his wife, and he's one of my best friends now. And you know, he lives in India, but when he comes over, I met him about 3 months after his wife died.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and he's come on this year's journey of letting go and receiving love and support and healing himself. And you know, he knew I was upset, and he came all the way down from North London to Dorset for the day twice to do healing with me, and came to my parents in South London to do some more healing. And you know, it's about
but also on that, so when, like, my biggest value is love. My 3 values that I live by and I show up by, and hopefully you recognize these in me, Jane, is love, and then freedom, and then courage. So love starts with me and then everyone else. Courage is care, speaking from the heart, like I've done today. And freedom is I have more and more freedom. I have time freedom and geography freedom, which I need to use more, which is how I'm going to set up my business more and more so. And then increasingly financial freedom, which is amazing. So, but what I found is that love has left, like a big chunk of love has left my life. But do you know what? It doesn't stop flowing in, and it's flowed in, like exactly like you said, it's flowed in from people I haven't spoke to in ages. It's flowed in from some of his friends. It's flowed in from my parents. It's flowed in from Charlie, being my little dog, being just lovely. It's flowed in from people I haven't spoke to in years. And it's just, My clients have been incredible. I've had flowers, I've had messages, I've had posters, and it's just been so love is always there. There's a constant flow of it, even if it's not there and that's person you speak to every day and they're your partner and they're going to be there for life. Well, they were. It's still there. It just flows. I've had people from CrossFit that I don't really know just turn up on my doorstep because they knew I was upset. And it started a whole nother lot of friendships that tonight I'm going to stand up paddleboard lesson.
Oh,
Two ladies that I barely know.
Good.
Because I don't want to sit in and just, I don't want to kind of give in to the grief. Like, I don't have much energy, but it's like, well, love flows. Like, it will always flow from somewhere else. So just to say, anyone that's struggling or going through a hard time like that at the moment, just if you open yourself off, and if you're vulnerable and you share how you're feeling, that love will just flow in so many different ways. It will just sweep you up. And it's just incredible. It has been amazing. And like you said, if like heartache and that sort of thing is growth, I'm on a learning curve like this at the moment, which is why I think I've got a cold and why I'm constantly exhausted. But
it is just keep getting that self-love in like you're doing, and allowing the love to flow in, and we've got to allow the grief and crying and all the rest of it
kind of minute by minute and hour by hour. I'm sure
exactly feel into what's good. There's a few times last week I just put the key in the door, I opened the door, and I was bawling my head off in the hallway, and that's as far as I got. And I was like,
that's fine.
Okay,
but what you needed.
I needed. So
can I just say something on feelings? Actually, I think this is really important. So feelings, this is a huge thing that I cover off with my clients, but we always kind of taught from very, very young to hide some of our feelings. So when if you fall over, you cut your knee when you're tiny, and your mum says to you, my English isn't very good, is it? Your mum says to you, oh, it doesn't hurt, don't worry, or here's something to take away the pain, or have a sweet, or we'll go out and play, and kind of tries to distract it from
don't cry, it's gonna be
okay. Exactly. And then as we grow up, if we're very emotional, like I'm very, very logical but very emotional, and I was kind of, my ex-husband used to say to me, you're too emotional, it makes you unpredictable, I never know what I'm going to get, and almost like seen as a weakness because you don't have that consistency. Whereas now I have this huge belief, and it's what I teach and coach my clients, is that feelings are your truth. Your feelings are there to show you something. They're not there to cause you pain or anguish or hurt. If you interpret it like that, that's kind of down to you. But even your darkest feelings are kind of like a guidepost directing you to something that you need to pay some attention to. And it might be something that you haven't let go of. It might be something that you need to change. It might be anything. But don't be scared of the darker feelings. And the other thing is that there's always contrast. After dark, I've had some incredibly dark days of late, but there's always light that follows it. And a great book on this is Debbie Ford, Dark Side of Light Chasers. It's just really, really good, like very eloquently explains that it's part of our whole. So don't hide away from how you feel. Men, women, men even more so. Man up. Men don't cry. Real men don't cry. Bollocks to that.
Oh, I hate it when I see parents doing that.
No wonder.
Like, jumping. It's okay. You can cry if you want.
Highest is death amongst middle-aged men because they're not encouraged to talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Share it. Write it. Whatever feels good for you. But don't hide how you feel. Don't disconnect from yourself. It's really, really not a good way to live. It doesn't feel good.
No.
And that's when everyone else comes in and their voice becomes louder. But anyway, yeah.
No, perfect. So as you know, my business is called Cherish, Transform and Upgrade.
Yes,
because I believe you start with cherishing yourself first. It starts to transform your life, and then you get to look around and go, oh, want to upgrade that and that and that, and you just grow more and more into your dream life, whatever that may be. So with that in mind, how do you cherish yourself?
How do I cherish myself? That's a good word. It's not a word I use very much, probably. So for me, cherishing myself isn't necessarily face masks and bath bombs and things like that. Cherishing myself is listening to how I feel. So just before I came on here, my energy was dipping a little bit and I wanted to be bang on form. So I just sat down and I read a magazine. I'm a bit of a geek. I read Psychology's magazine for 15, 20 minutes with a cup of tea with the patio door open overlooking the sea. And I could have chosen to work. Old Nick would have chosen to work, but I'm very mindful now about the amount of energy that I have. So, or earlier this week, just I had a gym booked in the morning and I just woke up in the morning. I was just beyond exhausted. So I was just like, this is ridiculous. So I cherish knowing what I need. My body is I'm much more in tune with my body and understanding what I need. I cherish myself by speaking my mind and being courageous doing that, even when it's difficult. How else do I cherish myself? With doing things that I love and spending time with people that I love. My little dog is a big part of my life and he's
Beautiful.
pretty damn cute. A little trouble monkey. I also managed to cherish myself just after the breakup initially by buying myself a hot tub that I've been talking about for about 18 months. But it's those little things and then big things. And it's just listening to what you want and just giving yourself that in the moment. And like I said, old Nick was very much would work through, I would push myself and work through this for the next few weeks and stuff. And I had huge plans for July about systems and process and structure. And it's like, do you know what? I will do my best, but it's not going to be how it was going to be before. And that's
come first.
Okay. Yeah. There is no business without me. So
no. Beautiful. Thank you. And we have heard lots about how you have transformed your life.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you want to say about your transformation?
Just that I'm very grateful for it. I can look back now on every part of my life, every version of me, and be grateful to them. The girl that had severe depression and anxiety, I'm very grateful for her everyday struggles. The girl that left a marriage that was broken, I'm very grateful for her bravery. The girl that still trusted in love like 18 months ago when she first met, the guy recently. I'm very grateful she was still brave enough to do that. And I think transformation is, it's banded about so much that it's seen as like this quick fix. And the biggest thing I wanted to say about it is that transformation isn't about a quick fix. It's not a quick process to go through. Transformation is really creating a journey that you love. Like you never have a body or life that you love doing things that you loathe or don't like. You just literally won't be able to wait to stop them. So I would just say anyone that's on a journey to transformation, it's follow the feel good. And it's slow at times, but it's your pace. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. It fits with your life and the ebbs and flows of your life. And it's got to feel good, because then it will just becomes part of your life. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's epic. And how have you upgraded your life?
Do you mean how I've done it, or do you mean in what way? Like what are the results been, or both?
Most people go, what are the results? But whatever you want to answer, you answer.
Okay. Upgrade in my life. The only thing I have a bit of a thing with upgrade, because it sounds like what before I had wasn't good. And it's not a criticism of you at all. But what I would say is upgrading to me is just a journey home to myself. And that's what I give my clients, is that actually when they get comments, along the lines of you're a different person now, I don't know if I recognize you, sometimes, in a positive way, sometimes in a negative way. And it's none of those things. It's just that they are more themselves than ever before. And I would say I'm more myself than ever before. I'm 41. I'm the most comfortable, generally, probably not right at this immediate moment, but I am the most confident I've been in my own skin. I truly connect and I truly love my business. It just needs to, I need to let it allow me more time. And I would just say to anyone
as well, because you did your big move.
Yeah. So I had basically a period of transformation of 6 months that was, I wouldn't recommend anyone do transformation this way, actually. So I had a gym business. So I closed my gym. I let go of all my clients. I let go of my team. I closed that business completely. I then went on holiday with my parents. I then set up a new business. I then sold a house, bought a house. The house that I bought was delayed, so I ended up living with my parents for a month. In the midst of all of that, I had a relationship that was breaking down. And I also had a dog that unfortunately passed away. And that period of transformation was it was too much, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do it like that again. No way. So I would just say to anyone, you can do it like that, but it pushes you more than it's so much change at once. And the thing is, from a noggin knowledge point of view and a brain point of view, that change is potentially danger to the brain.
Yeah.
The brain loves its survival is based on prediction response and knowing that the same routines and patterns will keep happening. Therefore, if you throw out everything and you start again, that causes a lot of stress and worry to the brain, which is threat and fear, which means that you're not in your human part of your brain to do thinking and planning and strategy. So I would just say to anyone, and the way I coach my clients is that actually, you want to change, that's brilliant, but let's have a plan. So one of them wants to change career at the moment. We're going through numbers, we're going through what feels good for her and what pace feels right for her. And I wouldn't
it's
ever,
good
I
to
personally
have the
wouldn't coach
logical
anyone
side
in the
as well as the emotional, like you say, head, heart. Yeah,
exactly. I personally wouldn't coach anyone through that quicker change, because I know what it's like and I wouldn't do that, I don't think. So so transformation, it's got to be fun, it's got to be simple, it's got to feel good, and it's got to be at the pace that feels right for you. So if that's slower, that's fine, but just think of this, like, you're here now, you want to get to here. It's only a matter of a number of steps, and the time is just the time difference. Is it faster, is it slower? We tend to be very impatient nowadays. We tend to, everything's available here and now. We can Google any answer, we can call anyone at any time. Therefore, we want everything now. But actually, the things that are really worth it do take time.
Yeah. And it's like, this instant messaging and everything. If someone hasn't texted you back, especially if you're in a relationship, if they haven't texted you back within seconds, well, what are they doing? They don't love me. They're this, they're that, they're that. And actually, if we take ourselves back, I'm going to be 40 next month, so we're pretty much the same age. If we go back to like when we first started dating, I mean, I don't think I even had a mobile phone.
No, we were landlines. Yeah, when I first started dating my husband, he would call me on the phone, like on the landline phone.
Yeah, exactly.
No
Didn't
Facebook,
have an email, no Facebook. So yeah, you didn't mind. You'd only maybe speak to arrange the date, and then you'd go on the date. So you might only see each other once a week. Yet now with these bloody things, we've got to be texting each other 30, 50 times a day.
Yeah.
And then it's not enough still. Because we're not in here
crazy.
being
I do
with ourselves.
Yeah, I do think we have this need for speed that I think is very detrimental to so many people. And I see it in many, again, high achieving women. They're driven by success and they're driven by achievements, which is great if that feels good for you. But actually, when you break it down, most of them don't actually want that. It's again that void of not knowing themselves. But they look at, by the age of 40, I want to be here. By the age of this, I want to be there or there. And it's like, you're setting yourself your own measures of success in life. So it doesn't feel good for you. Just fucking change it. It's not difficult. It doesn't have to be anyway. I mean, I am worried by the fact I'm 41 and not a mum, but then I also reassure myself if I've created so much of what I want in my life, pretty damn sure I can create that in some way. I just don't know the exact path at the moment, but I know for now it's got to be healing and it's got to be me time, so that I can.
We're super lucky now that us women have so many other options.
Yeah, hugely.
I didn't think that I didn't think I'd ever get pregnant, actually. And then when I did get pregnant, I certainly didn't think I'd be single instantly.
Yeah. Look how amazingly you've done.
And it's been an amazing journey. But 50 years ago, it would have been the wrong thing, my child probably would have been taken away from me because she's mixed race. I'd have probably been sent off to a convent. I mean, you know. And we are in this wonderful world where we have so many possibilities open to us now.
And look at, but that's formed a huge part of who you are, and
yes,
a huge part of your story, which is all it was always meant to be. It just probably felt quite different when you were like, ooh.
Pretty difficult, but not for long, you know, not forever. It was just like the first 3 months. Okay, this is really scary. And it's like, oh, okay. No, well, this is fine actually. And then, you know, you go into the scary bits, and then you work your magic. I got a lot of healing. I got a lot of help.
Yeah.
Went back to me, and I was a bit more me.
Brilliant.
Just like you say, yeah.
But I do believe life happens for us, not to us. Even recent events, I'm pretty sure there's a bigger reason why that's happened, and it's, you know, not just someone changing their mind. So
brilliant. Thank you so much.
Loved it.
It's been an awesome interview. And I'm looking forward to doing another interview with you on something else. I don't know what I'm going to think up.
Well, we could go pure noggin knowledge and teach your group about how their brains work.
I love the sound.
We could go full geek and teach.
Let's go full geek.
Teach them, you know, top 5 noggin knowledge insights to change your world or something like that. I'm sure we can do.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Done.
Easy. Thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you. Me too. And definitely catch up with you soon.
Yeah.
And if you could, I've already put your free group in the title bit. But if you've got any freebies, any workshops, anything that you want to share in the group, please do so underneath the live stream, and we can put all your details there so everyone can get in touch with you.
All right, my lovely. Okay. That's brilliant. Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Mwah. Thank you.
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Bye.